Good afternoon. It is August 13th, Monday, a little bit past 2 p.m. And the markets are a little bit weak today. We were anticipating this based off of the close we had Friday to close last week. And considering we were near all-time highs in the S&P 500, past all-time highs on a couple of the other indices, wasn't really that big of a surprise that we found some supply and some selling. And so the question now is the market going to pull further back, or is this maybe just a 2 or 3 day correction and then we try to resume our climb to print new highs? Because we actually fell just short of new highs on the S&P 500 by just a couple points. And the idea here is, of course, that what we want to do is try to find stocks that are doing what the market does. Those of you guys that are regulars that follow me on Patreon or follow me on Twitter and visit me on my Wednesday webinars, you'll know that we spend a good amount of time each week covering the markets. And the reason we do that isn't necessarily always to trade, say, a chart of SPY or the QQQ or IWM or something like that. Sometimes it's just to get an idea of what the market's doing so that we could find trades that work in that particular environment. If we could diagnose what environment the market's in, we could pretty much figure out what kind of trades are going to work. And we're in an interesting spot right now where the market could do a couple of different things, right? We are in a pretty strong uptrend, an uptrend that in the long term has been intact for over a year, and in the short term to intermediate has been intact for several months now. Ever since we bottomed out in March and April, we've had a pretty good climb from the lows of the year all the way up to near the highs of the year. And while we've had a 2 day pullback, clearly the trend is still up, right? And so we want to be able to take advantage of strength if it surfaces, but if it does pull back, we want to have a nice shopping list of names that we can buy at a discount once they come down to support levels. Now, the focus of today's video is not going to necessarily be on finding names that are at a discount. It's going to be finding names that present dual opportunities for us. They can either print, they're in the process of printing a pattern that can break out imminently and push to new highs, or they have further levels of support where if we did have a further pullback, the chart wouldn't be too damaged from a technical standpoint to say that it's hands off and we need to wait for a better setup. These are charts that would provide us with opportunities in both cases, in both scenarios, whether we immediately resumed our march higher and started trying to make our way back to highs, or if we had to pull back to further support levels. And the first one I want to point out is CDW. Right, and so here's a look at CDW, and if we just focus on the short term and we get rid of these two trend lines, these three trend lines, you'll see that in the short term, CDW looks pretty good, right? We had a nice wall of selling at 85. We're able to push through it. And then we're in the process of trying to establish and maintain the price action above 85. It's struggling, and there's a chance that it falters, especially if the markets weaken up. But if the markets sort of regain their strength and start pushing new highs, I think CDW will pretty imminently move towards new highs as well. It's only a couple of points away, and it's in the process now of trying to hold at the 50-pair moving average and try to get back above 85. So in the short term, this presents a nice opportunity. However, if it falls outside of this triangle, right, if it starts to falter and lose this area, well then we have something else we could fall back on, which is its longer term trend. It's been in a very nice ascending channel for a while now. Right, and so what we can do here is, if it starts to pull back and hits this area here around $80, this sets up as a really good buying opportunity as far as buying the dip. And so a trader that's looking to buy a pullback would still like this chart even if it failed temporarily at this $87 to $85 range. And so this is kind of the idea here. We have a chart that serves two purposes, right? It can be a momentum play to the upside, or it could be a value play if we do pull back to a further level of support, right? And so I like that. I think that this is the kind of chart that we need to keep our eye on right now, is something that gives us something to watch right now in case we do get strength, and yet also gives us something to keep our eye on in case the more weakness comes in. Now there's a couple others that are similar, in a similar situation to this. One is NetApp. NetApp doesn't look quite as good in the short term. As you can see, it's starting to really struggle at this $82 range. However, similar idea that it's in a nice ascending channel and presents nice pullback opportunities, but if it can regain strength off of the 20 and start to get back above 82 or 83, then it's got a chance to continue trying to ride the top of this channel. And so I think this one, while it doesn't present an opportunity today as far as the pattern we're seeing, it's still in a very similar situation, which is it's testing just a level just prior, just a little bit lower than the previous level. And if it can bounce here in another day or two, it could really make a move up if the markets do firm up. And again, if it pulls back, I think this presents an even better opportunity at value, either at 78 or down here at 74, 75, depending on the nature of the pullback. And so I think this one presents a nice opportunity. And then a slower moving name that I think is also doing something good is Coca-Cola. And this one is also in a similar boat where I think this trend line is a little steep to put a lot of faith in. But we are at the top of a gap, and often what happens is instead of filling the gap initially, you'll get a bounce here and a move right back up to the top of the range. And so I think this presents an okay short-term opportunity, but if it does fill that gap and pull back down into this 44.90 range, if the markets do sort of soften up and we get a few more days of selling, then this presents an even better longer-term buying opportunity as we come up and retest this zone, which again is just above this massive base that it built out over the course of 2018. And then we just had that recent breakout and then the gap higher. And as long as it's above there, I think it's in good shape and would present a nice opportunity for a trade even higher. So this is another one to add to our watch list that has the potential for two different styles of trade, right? We could trade it right now if we get another day or two of buying and it can start to make its way back to the top of the range, or if it starts to fill this gap on further weakness, then I think it sets up again as a pretty nice place. So I just want to make this quick video giving you guys an idea of how you can approach a market like this where there is the potential for strength to come in real quickly and surprise buyers and sellers, or we can have a further pullback and then get a nice buying opportunity once we come into support. I think that the bias for the market is still up. It's just a matter of taking advantage of the timing and getting it right. Hope this video helps. You guys enjoy this sort of comment or this sort of video. Feel free to comment on it and let me know what you like or what you don't like. Hit the like or subscribe button. I'm trying to add more content to my YouTube video on my YouTube channel as well as my Patreon channel. And feel free to visit me on patreon.com or follow me on Twitter at StockDarts if you are looking for more of this sort of content. Other than that, have a great day and good luck with the rest of this week.